just for the
I don't
fun
do
of it?
any Halloween stuff.
No,
No,
nothing.
not important.
Hey everybody, I'm Shane. I'm here with Roy Bookbinder.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here with you.
I'm glad you're here. We enjoyed the show tonight.
Yeah, it was great. It's just so great to be on the road again.
Yeah.
And I had visions of never doing it again.
Yeah, I bet.
And I lived to entertain people. It was a tough year. I mean, thank God we weren't strapped for cash or anything.
So when did you go back out on this little tour?
I had a little spring tour,
Okay.
which was not the fall tour. I knew would be better because I had Merle Fest, and I had taught at York McCalkin's Fur Piece Ranch guitar camp with me and G.E. Smith were there, and that's always fun. He can play a lot of kind of music.
Yeah. Nice.
He's really a very clever, talented fellow.
So how long is this run? You're headed back home after this? You got 2 more shows, I think I heard you say?
Yeah, 3. I got
3.
2 in Louisiana and then 1 in North Florida.
Okay.
I'm playing the Riverhook Music Festival in Dade City, which is 2 hours from home.
Okay.
On the way.
Nice.
So that's good.
So I usually kind of start these off also by talking about the history of us and you've been playing here for probably since the doors opened.
No.
No?
I used to play Rockefellers.
Oh, yeah. It's still there, sort of.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, it's still there.
I had a long history in Houston. Bob Claypool and Marty Racine wrote for the 2 newspapers, and Bob Claypool was my biggest fan. He wrote about me so much it was embarrassing. One week I had 3 articles in the paper, and the last one had a huge picture of me on the top and about the adventure we had carrying on in my bus.
Okay.
I had a bigger bus then. And he used to drag Marty to my shows. Marty wasn't into it. But after Bob died, Marty was into it, and he wrote about me.
Nice.
So it was great. And now nobody writes anything anymore.
That's true. I mean, we have a good one here,
Yeah.
but you know,
like at
it's
Rockefellers,
fun
I was
between-
a support act, but I went up for Roy Orbison, Riders
nice.
in the
Okay.
Sky, one of Steve Goodman's last gigs. So many people.
So when did you start playing here? Do you remember? No.
It was after
Sometime.
Rockefellers closed.
Rockefeller's is kind of still open. They
Yeah,
kind of
but
started doing it, but not like it was.
It was a different
Yeah,
thing.
back
It
in the
was,
day.
but this is a friendlier, nicer place. But I like the lawyer that owned that place. At one point, this guy walked in the club. I was at the Roy Orbison show. It wasn't really appropriate, but our both names were Roy, so I got the gig. And I was in town. I was seeing this lady, and that guy gave me a gig so I could have some money. Roy Orbison was nice. But this guy walked in with a mink coat and a big beard, and I didn't know who he was. And the lawyer who owned the place, I'm sitting at the bar, and he says, we're going out to the bus to take pictures for my office, and you were part of the show. So I was walking next to the long-haired guy, and we go walking down the hallway, and he says to me, I really dig those old country blues. I said, oh, thanks. He's got a white mink coat on. He said, he says, yeah. He said, you're the only person in Texas that doesn't know who I am. I said to him, oh, are you in a band? He said,
Oh, no.
He said, yeah. He says, you're the only person in Texas that doesn't know who I am. And he said, make sure I get some of those pictures. I said, okay, Dusty, I will.
Nice.
And then we took the pictures, and I go back to the bar. I said, who's this Dusty guy? And he says, ZZ Top. I said, oh, I heard of them. And I got a picture. I'll show you hanging in my bus
I wanna
of
see
me,
it.
Roy Orbison, Dusty, and the lawyer.
Okay.
And people come. My friends come in the bus and they say, "Who's the weirdo with the beard?" I said, that's my buddy Dusty. He's got the same picture in his house somewhere. And people say, "Who's the asshole with the mustache?" You can't make it up.
No, they don't. I'm sure they go, why is Roy doing that picture?
You can't make it up. But now he's dead, isn't he? One of them-
Yes, he just
yeah,
recently.
One of
Yeah.
them just died.
Yeah.
But anyway, the first band I saw, I was a huge Buddy Holly fan. I saw him 3 times.
Oh, yeah?
I grew up in New York City, so we had these rock and roll shows come through. When I was 14, I saw Ray Charles at the Apollo Theater
Oh, wow.
for $1.50. 3 white boys in the second row.
That was it.
And they loved us. The people loved us. Them were the days.
So that was your first couple shows, and you were 13.
Well, I saw the Alan Freed rock and roll show, so I saw Buddy Holly, Bo Diddley, Chuck Berry. I saw everybody, Dion. I saw Eddie Cochran, Come On Everybody, Summertime, and Gene Vincent and the Red Caps. But I was a rock and roll kid, but I was a nerdy kid. I never dreamt I would play music.
Right.
So you can't. And this is what happens when you're making other plans.
So what was your first record you got? Do you remember? What was the first one you purchased with your hard earned money?
I heard of money.
Was it a single?
It was a 45, and it was Laverne Baker singing Jim Dandy to the rescue. You know that one? Jim Dandy to the rescue.
So did you ever have a moment in time where you saw something or heard something or lyric that made you want to play music for the rest of your life? Was there a specific moment or?
I was in the Navy in '62. I joined the Navy after high school. Tried to go to college, didn't work out. And a kid from Oklahoma showed me some chords on a guitar, and we were strumming chords. And when I got out, I heard Dave Van Rockfinger pick Candyman. I said, "Oh my God, I got to learn how to do that." And the folk thing was still happening, sort
Okay.
of. I got out in '65. People asked me, "Did you know Dylan in the Village?" He was already in Woodstock. I said, "No, I didn't." And at this point, it's his move.
Right.
I think he like what he must like what I do. I'm sure he knows who I am. But,
He doesn't know who I am. I'm sure of that.
yeah, well,
Maybe after this interview.
yeah,
Maybe he'll watch it.
yeah,
And he'll know who we both are.
yeah.
Probably not. All right. We'll make this quick. I got some either ors for you. So I'm going to give you two bands or two people, and you tell me who you prefer. Just because you say you like one,
Oh, I'm not
doesn't mean
going
you
to
dislike the other
know
one.
any of them.
Oh, yeah, you will. Beatles or Stones?
I never listened to either of them.
You never listen to either of them?
I might have heard them on the radio, but it wasn't important to me.
No?
No.
What about Lightning Hopkins or Blind Lemon Jefferson?
Lightning Hopkins was one of the first blues guys I heard on record, but and it seemed like a simple style, but nobody can play like Lightning Hopkins. What's his name? Vandiver. What was his first name?
John?
John Vandiver was one of the best guys I ever heard in Texas. He wasn't very nice to me, but I met him at Kerrville, and I still listen to the disc his daughter put out of a live show. He was brilliant. His tragic death, but Reverend Gary Davis used to say, "Bad company done brought me here." And he'd sing "Death to Have Mercy." The boys sat on the electric chair. "Bad company done brought me here."
So do you, to kind of wrap it up, do you watch anything on Netflix? You got any shows for us? Do you watch
No.
Netflix, Hulu, no TV?
No.
Any books?
Books. Yeah, my favorite writer is Harry Crews, Crews.
Okay.
Florida writer from Georgia, who wrote very real books. He wrote a dozen plus novels before he died, but he grew up in a dirt poor. He got his education in from the GI Bill. He was in the Marines, a little older than me, and his mama. He always made up stories. He grew up so dirt poor. He said that they used to him and his black friend. They didn't know they were colored or anything, you know. They used to look at the Sears Roebuck catalog. It was the only book in the house, and they never saw such perfect people with no scars and no broken arms. And they made up stories. And he was a writer, and he was a very successful writer. But he never had a hit book because he didn't care. Every book he wrote. Was Hollywood? Somebody bought it for screenplays,
Okay.
but he refused to write screenplays. He didn't want to waste his time.
What were some of the books? Some of the
The first
screenplays?
book was called The Gospel Singer.
Okay, yeah.
The Gypsy's Curse, Scar Lover. Those were some of them. And in the 80s, he used to write articles for Playboy and Esquire.
Okay.
You know, he'd do like, he wouldn't do interviews. He'd do like his take. He went to Alaska. They said, we want you to do something with Charles Bronson. Charles Bronson never said 10 words in a script, let alone in real life. But he spent 2 weeks with Charles Bronson and wrote a story, and because he could relate to his life, because they both grew up with nothing, and they're both quiet guys, really, if they're not drunk or stoned. but they're both dead now. But he was a great writer, influenced me a great deal.
Okay. You got any parting words for us? Any wisdom?
Yeah, you young people out there, the hardest thing you could have in life is to have a dream. And I couldn't have dreamt up the life I'm leading when I was 12 or 15 or 18. But once I got it in my head that I was going to do this, I never had a manager, I never had an agent. I had record companies. And the first little album I did for a little tiny label in Maryland, got 5 stars in downbeat. A lot of the young players say to me, the singer-songwriters, how do you know when it's time to make a move? I said, somebody besides your mother and your family and your friends has to tell you you're good. It's like my first record. Well, I knew with 5 stars in downbeat, no single solo act ever had a 5-star review in downbeat.
Okay.
So I figured I must have something here. But I knew immediately from the audiences. I mean, I was playing hootenannies, open mics in Greenwich Village in '65 with Phoebe Snow, Richie Havens,
Oh, nice,
pre-Woodstock. And Richie Havens would come out, you'd sign up to sing you 3 songs. I only knew 3.
He played here.
Yeah, Richie used to come out of the gaslight and say, "Oh, it's so blanky." I'm not going to say fucking hot, but it was so fucking hot.
You can.
He says, "Somebody's got to buy a joint for $2. I got to take a cab back to Brooklyn." I said, "I'll buy one," and he never forgot it. I saw him 40 years later at the Philly Folk Festival. He said, "Oh my God, Roy Bookbinder." I said, "You couldn't remember me. I was a nobody in the village." He said, "So was I."
You should write a book.
I'm working on it, but I have no ambition. It's not necessary.
Yeah.
I mean, I should make another album, but I got 10 or 11 albums. I don't need another album because people don't expect something new and different. I still play all the songs from my first album because I never bother learning anything unless it's for life. And I don't, people study guitar with me, but I don't know really much about it. I'm not really a guitarist. I'm an entertainer that plays some guitar. But I tell the students that come to me, I said, I only know 12 chords and 3 ways to make them. That's why I have a style.
Like Green Day.
Yeah, this is what it is. I reshuffle the chords into different places, and they all don't sound the same. But I can't jam with people. I don't know how. People think I'm antisocial. Well, I am, but...
Well, I mean, you're sitting here with me.
Yeah, well...
I mean, it's kind of forced.
Yeah, well...
We weren't going to feed you unless you sat with me.
I was asked to do it by a man I respect.
Well, thank you for sitting down with me. That's all I got for you.
Thank you. I hope I did okay.
You're perfect. Roy Bookbinder. Thanks.